am Coach Mo Faul, and I am on Substack now. Perhaps you're viewing me on YouTube as well. This broadcasts in both places. Today, I'm going to be talking about what's underneath the look. What are the unseen aspects of you that actually control you? And here's the thing. All of us have something called the default mode network. It's a part of our operating system that is almost hard coded to help us make decisions and filter things out that we don't want or that we not perceive as threats. This default mode network is like our operating system. And when it is built on things that are not favorable for us, when it's built on threat response, when it's built on needing to prove something, when it's built on not feeling worthy, we've got massive problems in our life. If you've been following my work at all, you know that the basis of my work is to build people from the inside, the soul. I'm career coach Mo Faul. I've spent the last 12 years helping women uplevel their careers, become better leaders, move into executive presence and confidence. And the next couple of months, I'm going to be focusing on the foundational work of all of my coaching work. It was a foundation of my work on myself as I was emerging from my breast cancer journey when I was 46 years old. And let's do some math. That was 18 years ago. I actually got diagnosed around this time then. So when we move into sort of the end of summer, starting to be in fall, start school season, that's sort of that memory for me of having gone through the biopsies and all of that poking and prodding that eventually ended up with the diagnosis of breast cancer in both breasts. Enough about that for a second. But what that led me to was the deeper parts of myself. You know, when you get disfigured, TMI, right? When you get disfigured and your body changes its shape and you no longer can take your body for granted. You know, I was training with my little sister for the Marine Corps Marathon when I was diagnosed with breast cancer. And I was always a big runner. I loved running. It was my stress relief. And my little sister had lost a lot of weight and she asked me to run a marathon with her. So we woke up early in South Florida training for a marathon in October up in DC, and I got diagnosed. And literally my world turned inside out or outside in, and I needed to focus on what parts of me on the inside were going to emerge through this, because the outside me had some limitations based on my surgery and also my healing journey. So what happened is I found the pieces deep down in me. And I sent out an email this morning and it had a great graphic on it. And I'm going to try to find that graphic. You know, on the scene, on the surface, above the scene, like an iceberg, on the surface, we have, how do I look? What's my title? What's my role? What's my sort of socioeconomic status? How do the things that define me in the external world make me be who I am? All good. We're human beings. We're in the physical world. We need that stuff, including the decisions of clothes to wear, food to eat, places to go, where to go on vacation, all the external facing stuff. And in my spiritual journey, that was usually equated to 2% of who we are. I'm going to put it more like 10%. There's no right percentage on this, but what I will tell you is this: the external facing pieces are a reflection of decisions that we've made and the templates and operating system that we are committing to, our beliefs, our values. And that creates that default mode network that I mentioned a few minutes earlier. All of the things that are under the surface are what's informing our decisions above the surface. And if you don't feel confident about certain things in your life, if you have a lot of self-doubt, you're not going to take action on things in the external world. You're going to hide. You're going to be afraid. You're going to hope that they don't notice. And in all my years of coaching, over 2,000 women over the past 12 years, one of the main things that I've coached on is helping women face things with tools and tactics that work, but you have to have the inside going on first. You can't really have that crucial conversation if what's underneath is not going to support that conversation. That's what we would call performance art. And it doesn't work, it doesn't last, and people see right through that. And more or less, you really won't do that stuff. You won't do the action of a crucial conversation or ask for more money or put your hat in the ring for the promotion if you're not feeling underneath the surface the version of you that you need to have in order to be aligned with that power. And I want you to hear that really strongly. And if you're with me today, go ahead and say hello in the chat. Let me know who you are, where you're from. If I see your Substack name, I might not recognize who you are. So, what's happening beneath the surface is how your soul or your wounds inform you. And I'll give you a great example that's very common among women. I had it myself. I felt like I had to work really hard to prove my worth. And what happens after a promotion is that we feel like we have to work harder in order to prove our worth at that next salary. So if you make $25,000 more after a promotion, you're subconsciously wired to feel like you need to work that much more to earn that promotion. While that's not true in the world of contribution, the harder that you work is not necessary when you're a professional knowledge worker. It's about contributing impact, influence, and moving something forward. That doesn't necessarily take more time. If you have 10 people reporting to you and you get a promotion that now you have 50 people reporting to you, perhaps you have 5 teams of 10. So you have 50 people in your team, you have 5 people directly reporting. That means that you have a multiplication factor of what you can do and influence through those people underneath you. And if you feel that you have to earn your worth to have that promotion go well, that you have to outwork, outperform, you're going to be a bad leader. You're going to be stressed out. And your subconscious is going to be saying, wait a minute, this isn't sustainable. We can't do it this way. And what's going to happen is that you're going to begin to calibrate that that promotion is not a good fit. And one way of handling that is by self-sabotage, screwing up on something, blowing up in a meeting, saying the wrong thing to your boss, perhaps ducking from responsibility or getting into the blame game. All of the things that human beings will do to get ourselves off the hook. And I've seen a lot of these tactics, uh, dysfunctional tactics being employed across all sorts of human beings I've coached and their leaders and their team members. And I experienced it myself. When I was a leader, I had to keep working on myself to not sabotage and to also continue to up level and know that my internal ambition to make more money and move up the org chart was basically my own desire for growth, my own soul's desire to express more, to be more. And that's our nature as a human being. At the soul divine level, energetically, we are wired to grow more. We are wired to express more. And because we're human beings, we want to have that human connection. So we want it to matter to others. We're not just working hard, putting our talents and gifts out there to make money and have that type of linear relationship. No, we want it to matter. So all of the things below your surface, below the surface of what's on the external facing aspects of you really, really matter a lot. And I'm going to say it this way. You need that level of expression to feel happy about yourself. Yeah, you do. You need that level of expression to feel, yeah, I feel good about myself. Yeah, I really do feel like, yeah, this is what's going to work for me. And when you have that element of yourself, you can then keep building confidence underneath. So let's review this visible and invisible or underneath the surface aspects. So what's visible is your look, your words, your role, your reputation, the car you drive, what you eat, where you go. All of that stuff is important, but it's not the whole story. What's underneath the surface is your soul. And what drives you are things like your values, which is a compass, your identity. Like, really, who do you think you are? Because who you think you are is where your authenticity comes from. If you think you're a failure, if you think you're not good as a leader, that's going to be the authentic version of you. Your authentic version of you is steeped then in a self-esteem problem. How about your purpose? If you feel that your job as an engineer has nothing to do with your purpose on life, you're going to have a really shaky North Star. You're going to be feeling off track. And it's super easy to get on track when you have your soul lit up. Whether you're an engineer, an accountant, a marketing person, a physician, an attorney, no matter what you are, getting your purpose baked into your profession. So many people think that they need to be outside their profession to live their purpose. No, no, no. When you have your soul lit up, when your soul is the guidance system, your purpose is baked into your profession. How about the beliefs you have? You have two big sets of beliefs: beliefs about yourself and beliefs about the world. And when you perceive either of those to be either threatening or weak or vulnerable, your foundation is very weak. So your beliefs are your foundation. Do I believe that my boss supports me and is going to want my ideas and will receive my communication? Or do I believe that my boss thinks that I'm stupid, incapable, and just wasting their time? Which way do you go on that? Those beliefs that you have about your boss will either shake your foundation or enhance it. So, all of these beliefs about what's out there and what's in here are your foundation. And then we have this thing called mindset, which is not the same thing as your soul. Your mindset are the things that filter what you see and experience in the world. So if you have a mindset of people are greedy, you're going to see greed or you're going to perceive greed. You're going to see what equals your mindset, your lens of how you take stuff in is all based on how you've constructed a mindset. This is where prejudicial thinking biases stay put because it's the lens in which we perceive the world. And we need a mindset. We need filters. We need a lens to sift through life because there's a lot coming at us. And if we can't make decisions quickly, then we're not going to be able to operate in the world. So our mindset and our lens, our filter system is really important. But if it's based on faulty things, if it's based on experiences or prejudices or limitations that aren't really true, it's going to put us in really, really dicey territory. How about your story? This is something that's really underneath the surface. I actually coached a woman, well, many women, but one in particular I'm thinking about. She was from the coal mining country in Kentucky. Her dad was a coal miner. And my client had worked her way all the way through school, being super smart, getting great grades, going to college, first one in her family ever to do that because she did not want to be associated with that life in that region of the world of poverty basically and that blue collar mining type of thing. She just detested it. So she did everything she could to move herself out of that life and that identity and that story. And when I was coaching her, we were getting into what her background was and what she enjoyed to do as a kid, and she really liked reading. And I said, "What did reading do for you?" And she said, "It helped me escape what my life was really like." And as I dug further into that, I heard the story of being from a coal mining town in Kentucky and a coal mining family, and she had a lot of shame around that. But you know what? Once we got her into the sweet spot of how that strengthened her, it no longer carried shame for her. It became her strength. Now, that took a little while because she had been carrying shame about that for decades. But your story, when it's turned the right way, is your strength. And this is what I do as a coach for our elevator pitch. Your story has in it the DNA, literally, of what is your strength. We could also say, what is your superpower? You know what? This client's superpower was the fact that she could move through any external obstacle. She had such focus and such ability to power through things, made her a great executive and a great leader. And she was inspiring at that level because she had so much energy around almost ignoring the current status to go for what it is that the goals, objectives of the company were. She was very highly performing because of this. And that is her strength. But she didn't want to pull it together with her story because it had shame. And once we pulled that together, wow, she saw herself in a new way. And as a matter of fact, she began to then embrace what her elderly parents needed from her in particular and brought them closer to where she lives. And all things began to work in a more positive direction because of that. Let's talk about one of the more final pieces that I want to talk about and what drives you. And that's your energy. And I don't mean your food fueled, caffeine and sugar enhanced uh, metabolism. I'm talking about your internal, energetic version of you. And most people will recognize when someone has good energy when they walk into a room. I typically have pretty good energy when I walk into a room, and I'm able to authentically meet people where they're at, so to speak. Like my presence, I've been told this, isn't dominating for the other people in the room. It is more like, oh, let's go talk to her or let's go see what she has to say. Your energy does create your presence. And if you have low energy, it's probably because you have low self. It's definitely having low soul energy. And this is typically how we can telegraph or see other people who have a disconnect in their power. And, to be a little bit negative about human beings, if there is someone who's a narcissist, ego based, power mongering, they will literally feed off of the weak in the room. And if you are more the bait, it's likely that you're not authentically wired and you're not in your compass, your authenticity, your North Star, your foundation, your proper strong lens, your strength, and your presence. Your presence telegraphs to everyone how you think and feel about yourself. And I'm not talking about charisma. I'm not talking about being able to speak from a stage. I'm not talking about that level of presence. I'm talking about your presence as a human being. When you show up, are you emanating from yourself or are you shrinking? And I've met lots of women who spent their life shrinking. I've met lots of women who spent their life shrinking and didn't understand what it was all about and how to fix it until we went into the soul. So let's review what drives you underneath the surface: your values, your identity, your purpose, your beliefs, your mindset, your story, and your energy. Now, here's the thing about all that. That might sound sort of like vague and esoteric, but those pieces of you as a human being are actually your advantage. And in this day and age of AI and all sorts of things moving and grooving and moving fast and all sorts of things, it is your actual advantage to have all of those pieces locked in. And that's the soul level. These things, when they're locked in, give you a human advantage in these 5 ways. It gives you the advantage of problem solving. When you're lined up with your soul's energy and you have that compass, you can feel the right answer to problems. You can feel your way through it. And I don't mean ooey gooey, well, she's so feeling state. I mean, you literally have a locked in, strong, intuitive direction. The second thing is judgment and decision making. And the calls that you make on the data and how you see things can be rapid because you're not relying as much on the mental process, which is slow. You're relying on all the aspects of you being lined up. Boom, boom, boom. The third thing is accountability and results. You're able to hold other people accountable and you're able to continue to move toward results because you are at your finest version of you. Now, that all leads to having the fourth thing, which is team trust and alignment. Being the one people tell the truth to and the one who can get a whole room rowing in the same direction. If you had to say, what is the quality of a leader? It's that people trust them. It's that they have an unspoken radar that that person's aligned. That person is integrity. That person is congruent. And that's what people feel when they feel the sense of trust. And the fifth thing, which is going to get all of the professional women, the thing that they're really looking for, and that is when you have all this lined up, the fifth advantage of you as a human being is being visible as a leader. Having that whole you, not the boxed up performing version who is leaving the best parts of you outside, but the whole you. She becomes more visible and more powerful because she's all there. And when you leave aspects of yourself in more of a weakened state, you're not going to be able to do the things that you want to do and move up. Now, I want to say this. Once you understand that these are your strengths, that the stuff underneath are your strengths, you then have a sense of being someone who is not able to be copied. You can't be copied when you're authentically you. And that human advantage is the thing that's going to keep you moving forward, not only in life, ease and flow, but in your career as a leader, as an executive. They're going to say, oh, we want her to be at that VP level because she brings such trust and alignment, and she can really get her teams around big goals and big outcomes. And we trust her to make big decisions when they're required. That's one of the reasons why men are typically seen as leaders more than women, because people see in male leaders or males rising through the ranks a little bit more of that tough decision-making capability. And if you're not telegraphing confidence because of all these things we've mentioned, then they're not going to see you as someone who can make tough decisions. And that's one of the big areas of distinction that people make about leaders. Can she make tough decisions? Or is she going to protect her team? Are you following me? So underneath the surface, you've got all of this stuff that you need to build up. And this is what the soul code is all about. This is what, let me see if I can share. Let's see. Do I have the ability to share? Oh, here's a little bit of share. Yeah, so pardon my emails over here. But we can share, we can look at these aspects. Oh, I lost my screen. All right, never mind. Stop sharing. So if you're following me on Substack here, you'll see the article on the feed below. All of what I'm talking about over these next couple of months is in my book, Soul Code. All the ways that you can access these invisible parts of yourself, all the ways that you can access your identity, your mindset, your presence, your energy, the foundation, your own personal GPS is in your soul. And you can order that book, find out about the events and the lives and the things that we're having between now and September 15th when the book launches, thesoulcodebook.com. That's where all of our goodies are going to be. That's where all of the stuff about what we're doing about this. I have a live summit event happening September 15th, and you can access some meditations, worksheets, an e-journal, all the things that are going to be good practices for you to nurture your soul coming alive and having that be the best part of you. Please remember and take away that the best parts of you are underneath. They're inside. And that doesn't mean that they can't be worked on, but they absolutely can be worked on. And those are the aspects to work on, because that will then inform everything you do on the outside. It'll inform your decisions. It'll inform how you are as a leader. It'll inform how smart and quick you are in meetings or around project teams. Let's get your soul revved up. Let's get that internal you to be the best part of you and the operating system, because when it becomes the operating system of you, then you have freedom. You know who you are, you operate in integrity, and decisions are super easy to get to. This is Coach Mo Faul. Click on below, check out my book, check out my other information, videos, etc. Wherever you're watching this, there's something below for you to get into. And I appreciate you joining me on this live. If you'd like to subscribe to my Substack, please do so. It's perfectly free. You'll get notified of all my articles that I do more in long form here and all the videos that I do. We'll see you on the next video. This is Coach Mo Faul, thesoulcodebook.com. We'll see you later.